Okay, so I am I'm on the Daily Mail. I'm on the Daily Mail at my own risk. At my own risk. And I saw this article written by someone named Kennedy. They did not put their first name, which is interesting. And it says here, Me First Meghan is in a situation stickier than huckleberry jelly. Kate's tragic cancer news now means American Riviera orchard must wither on the vine, or else the Duchess risks looking like an unfeeling Viscountess of Venom. Well, you can't accuse Kennedy of hating on Meghan or being vile towards Meghan or bullying Meghan or any of those things, can you? I mean, this sounds rather objective. It sounds rather even kind, doesn't it? Nobody's going to be canceling her or him for anything they say here because it's par for the course. It's free speech, right? Nobody's going to be suspending their channel or calling for her to be fired from the Daily Mail. All par for the course. This is, after all, about Meghan. Now, imagine the same thing was written in, say, an American paper about Kate, this type of tone. What would the British press be saying? So I guess I have to conclude that the British press and Britain and the British people and the British monarchy are in a more powerful position than the Americans because they dictate the behavior of the Americans. Even the American movie stars and celebrities, except for maybe Kim Kardashian, who did not kowtow, as far as I know, and apologize for some little nonsense she said that they started to call for her to apologize. I think it sounds like I have to conclude that the British monarchy is very, very powerful. The entire world genuflects and what do you call it, curtsies to them. And the British press is the most powerful press in the world. They can say whatever they want. Nobody calls them on it, but they get to call everybody on everything. Apparently now they're even naming YouTubers' channels by name and really going to town on people. And there's no counter. There's no counterpunch. There's no counterpoint. There's nobody to check them except for a few Sussex squatties, which one by one they get them suspended from these social media platforms. But they get to say whatever they want. I mean, listen to this article by Kennedy for the Daily Mail. Was Meghan me first, Markle? Oh no, has Meghan me first, Markle misfired? So the American Riviera Orchard launch is morphing into a massive headache for Princess Never Was. How kind, right? As frenzied fascination bubbled around the MIA Princess of Wales last month, Meghan unveiled her gleaming garage lifestyle brand. I don't even know what that means. Garage. What's a garage lifestyle brand? Okay. Some suggested the Duchess was callously piggybacking off so-called Kategate to flog her new jams, spreads, and silly bits. They like that word a lot, silly bits. Oh, you're silly, you know? It's like the biggest diss. Others said they couldn't believe she was so carelessly cooking in a white top with no apron in that cringingly spew-tastic promo vid. I've never heard anybody in the American press use these kinds of words against Kate Middleton, right? And I think if they dared to do that, the British press and the British monarchy would go completely bonkers and issue statements, and they would have to retract, apologize, and get on their knees immediately. England is a more powerful country than even America. And you can't say, well, oh, England is so small and America is so big, so America is more powerful, because in fact, England has always been small and it has always ruled the world, right? And it controls people, it controls the media, it controls the religious institutions, right? It controls governments, right? I mean, America fought a war to get them off their back. That's true. And they won, beat their asses and get them out of here. But still, they hold a lot of sway, because if somebody wrote this kind of stuff about Kate in an American media, I mean, it would be hell to pay, right? But they can just write this with nobody says anything, right? I mean, this woman, an American citizen, living her life in California with her husband, she's launched a business, and the first day it's launched, these people started to attack her, trying to talk it into failure, right? Writing all of these horrible things, her cringingly spew-tastic promo vid, right? Imagine somebody saying that about Kate's cancer video, right? Her cringingly spew-tastic cancer announcement video. What in the name of God would happen in the world if someone said that, right? Either way, the timing felt like something of a snub to the Waleses. Scurrilous stateside rumors about the health of their marriage were swirling to boiling point. Dirty doer Andy Cohen and Stephen Colbert were popping gags at Kate's expense. Uh-oh. So there you go. So the Americans, have Andy and Stephen apologized yet? They're not going to stop until they get on their knees. I think I heard Andy apologize, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Stephen apologized, but he did sort of get on his knees and wish her best with the cancer, but he didn't say he was sorry about whatever he said in that, skit he did. And the proximity of Meg's Insta unveiling felt a little too close for Californian comfort as Prince William stepped onto a stage in London just hours later at an awards ceremony honoring his late mother. Ouch. Poor William being upstaged by what did they call the Princess Never Was? Can you imagine that? You just said this woman is Princess Never Was. It's right here. And Princess Never Was is upstaging the king in waiting hours. I mean, it's like she launches a website. How did you describe this website? Use the word I don't even know, but I can tell you it's a disc. It says her gleaming garage lifestyle brand. Never heard that word in my life. I'm not even going to bother to look that up. Whatever it means, right? And so basically, it's a cow manure website, right? And Princess Never Was launches a cow manure website, and it upstages the king to be Prince William oceans away in London. What does this tell you about the prince to be, or the king to be, Prince William? This is not about Princess Never Was. This is about Prince William. And the fact that this woman doesn't see that is really mind-blowing. This has nothing to do with Princess Never Was. It has to do with Prince William, the heir apparent to the British throne. He doesn't have it. He lacks a lot of something if Princess Never Was launching a garage, quote unquote, whatever that means, website thousands, tens of thousands of miles away across a vast ocean. If she can upstage Prince William with that, then the problem is Prince William, not Princess Never Was. If you agree with me, or disagree, let me know in the comments. But to me, that's pretty clear. Princess Never Was upstaging the king? Think about it. Anyway, Kennedy goes on. Of course, the brand itself is a shameless royal masquerade. See Meghan Duchess defector decked out in floor-length ball gown and the phony baloney gold embroidered logo. Can you imagine if they described Kate's outfit with these kinds of adjectives when she did her cancer video? The world would it would be World War III. I think the British would absolutely send in Scotland Yard. They won't even go to the military. So Scotland Yard would cross the pond and demand an apology or else. Can you imagine? The brand is a shameless royal masquerade. I don't see how an American brand is a shameless royal masquerade. How is an American brand a shameless royal masquerade? It's American Riviera Orchard. England does not have a Riviera. It doesn't have a Riviera, and there's nothing American about it, right? So how is it, masquerading as a royal brand? It's just insane. Absolutely insane. So then she says, he or she, Kennedy says, perhaps with the gossip gremlins working overtime to blow hot air about stricken Kate. Stricken Kate. Stricken Kate. You know what? We should all look that good if we are stricken. I mean, you have people in hospitals who are really stricken. You know what I'm saying? They can't even move. They have tubes, you know, dug into them up the wazoo. They can't breathe on their own. They have like oxygen tanks on them. Okay. I mean, they are so thin you're seeing their bones protrude. I mean, they can't even walk without a walker or with a wheelchair because they're so weak from their illness. You want to talk about stricken? I mean, I think quite frankly what they need to do is to have Kate really take this seriously. And if she does have cancer, which I don't think that's what she said, but I could be corrected, you know, share it with the world, share the way that she recovers, the experience of it, to let people really know that they're not alone. I mean, people would really love her and sympathize with her. You know, people who have cancer and get chemotherapy, they lose their hair. Show her losing her hair. If this can happen to a princess and she can survive it, then other people with cancer would feel that they can survive it too. Be more authentic. Use her situation as a learning experience for herself and for everyone else in the world. I mean, stop exaggerating her situation. Stricken Kate, we saw Kate 2 days before the cancer announcement at the farm shop with her husband. Victoria Newton of the UK Sun, the paper that ran those photographs, admitted in an interview, I believe it was with the BBC, it's on tape. I've got several videos of it, saying that not only did she seek to change the narrative, but she was in talks, constant talks with Kensington Palace, Prince William, about running the photographs, and they had no problem with her running the photographs. So either they colluded with her to deceive the public, or that really was Kate and William. And there was nothing stricken about that Kate. Absolutely nothing at all. Even Cancer Kate on the bench admitted that the surgery was successful and she's doing much better, right? Just 1 day before that, the New York Post ran an article that, you know, she's working on a big project, a big comeback. Weeks before that, she was hiring staff, including the former equerry of the deceased Queen Elizabeth. So when you talk about stricken Kate, Mr. or Ms. Kennedy, you really are making light of people who really are stricken in hospitals around the world, who really are ill and who don't have anyone to sympathize with them and pity them and, you know, care about what happens to them. And the Princess of Wales can actually use her platform, her incredible platform, to really bring some light into the life of people who are really stricken, sharing her diagnoses in an open and authentic way, and even her journey to health. You know, showing us, you know, it's okay. We live in the 21st century and in social media world where if she were to show that, you know, she doesn't have to show every minute of it, but showing herself losing her hair and all of the different things she's going through with this cancer that you say she has is stricken with, it would be so much more authentic rather than sitting here writing these nasty articles about the Duchess of Sussex, right? So Kennedy goes on. After all, loose Windsor association and looser lips are the only things keeping her relevant. No, you are the one who's keeping her relevant with this kind of hit piece. It's a hit piece, but it's still keeping her relevant because she has nothing to do with Kate's illness. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not her fault that she's in good health and Kate is not, right? She's across the pond. She has her life. She has her plans. She trademarked her business well before Cancer Kate came out and said she had cancer. She had no idea this woman had cancer. You can't expect her to put her entire life on hold. No one else in the royal family has put their life on hold. Zara and Andrew's daughters and her husband Mike Tyndall were in Bahrain fetting just the other day with Jeremy Clarkson on a private jet. They all flew back to London on a private jet while Kate was in the hospital. William was out at a pub drinking with pals while Kate was in the hospital. He went to the Baptist while Kate was in the hospital. He was doing royal duties of all sorts, including one where he had the Jewish thing on his head since Kate was in the hospital. He was calling for Gaza to be, people to be released from Gaza while Kate was in the hospital. Okay. Kate's mother was busy dealing with her bankruptcy while Kate was in the hospital. Queen Camilla went off to Sardinia or some sunny climate for a holiday while Kate was in the hospital. Her own sister Pippa was in the Caribbean in a very skimpy bikini that got at least 3 pages of bikini shots in your very publication, the Daily Mail. I saw them myself while Kate was in the hospital. Why is it that everyone else, Fergie and Andrew, have been busy doing, deals with this, that, and the next while Kate is in the hospital, right? Why is it that everyone else in this family who are in London, who are really active members of the family, can carry on as if it's nothing, including her own husband and her immediate family, her mother, her father, her brother wrote some kind of book or whatever he did while Kate has been diagnosed with cancer, right? And a woman who has, Princess Neville was, let's be very clear, Princess Neville was, who has absolutely nothing to do with y'all, right? She's left your country to you and to them 4 years now and counting. She should stop everything and sit in a corner. I mean, my big question is, until when? Because since Kate has been so vague about her treatment, we can only assume that it's going to carry on till at least the end of this year, because it sounds like certainly she missed Easter service. It sounds like she's going to miss Trooping the Color in the summer. It sounds like she's not going to be with her husband in November, because he's told us that since January that she's not going to be there. So it sounds like no one's going to see this woman again till the end of the year, or maybe next year, 2025. So when does Meghan have permission to continue living her life? Because everyone else seems to have taken it upon themselves to continue with theirs, and they have permission. Meghan does not have permission. When does she have permission? Who will give her the memo that says, okay, now you can come out and you can continue with your life because Princess who is now better? So you have Princess Neville was, and you have Princess who is. So Princess who is better. Princess Neville was can now continue with her business endeavors. And meanwhile, who pays Princess Neville was's bills? Are you going to pay it? Is the British public going to pay it? Are they going to be okay with paying her bills while she sits on a stump in her garden waiting for Princess who is to become unstricken with cancer? So anyway, Kennedy goes on. You see, now that we know the devastating truth about Kate's cancer diagnosis, this Martha Stewart misadventure is looking a little bit Harry ham-fisted. I mean, again, Kate's cancer diagnosis is nothing in the present. Kate says that cancer had been present, right? That's not a cancer diagnosis. That's acknowledging that they did an operation that was unrelated. The public was told several times that this had nothing to do with cancer. Several times, at least 4, that Kate did not have cancer. And then after several weeks or months of being missing from the public and creating an international intrigue, she comes out and she says, well, cancer had been present, right? And now she's getting preventative chemotherapy. I mean, it's a mouthful, right? It's a medical, anomaly. Nobody's ever heard of people getting chemotherapy preemptively or preventatively, but that's what she said. We all have to go with that. But the point is, that's different from a cancer diagnosis, and you guys need to get your story straight. Either she has cancer or she does not have cancer. Either cancer had been present or cancer is present. Either she's getting chemotherapy or she's getting preventative chemotherapy. But all of that depends on what she actually has going on. You can't prevent cancer if you already have it. So the fact that she's getting preventative chemotherapy is a big problem. And maybe that's what the BBC and all of the rest of them are trying to hint at the moment, is they're going to come out with a new statement to clarify their fuck up, frankly, that she is getting preventative chemotherapy. This makes no bloody sense. If you have cancer, you don't get preventative chemotherapy. Again, if you have cancer, you don't get preventative chemotherapy. So somebody who wrote that speech needs to be fired as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, Kennedy goes on. Even Meghan, never afraid to stick her LA or where it's not wanted, must surely know that any product releases of balsamic fig dip or grievance-scented smelling sticks would now leave her looking like a veritably unsympathetic Viscountess of Venom. I mean, can you imagine an American press writing this kind of venom about Kate Middleton? Honestly, and what these very people at the Daily Mail would say. I mean, they call for their own to be fired. One of the reporters at the BBC said, Farm Shop Kate is not Kate, and this paper called for her to be fired, right? And listen to the things they're saying about Meghan, and then these very people will turn around and call the Sussex Squad vile, mean bullies of Kate. Listen to this. How is this not a total bully hit piece on Meghan? Anyway, do we need to read any more of this crap, this horse manure, this cow manure that has been sitting there for a few hours with all the flies on it? Anyway, listen, that's all for this one. See you in the next one.